From Studio 4 of Radio Television Brunei, this is Living with Passion with your host, Mr. Soon Lu.
All right, let's give all of you a big hand again. Welcome to Living with Passion. So many of us have different limitations that we set for ourselves. So in this episode, I'd like to set you a challenge, which is let you realize, and you ask yourself this question: what are your limitations and how you can really overcome that? So we start by asking ourselves this question: what will be a physical challenge that you will like to throw at yourself? So what would be one of those? So for myself, one of those physical challenges I like to challenge myself is to run a marathon. Thank you. Because I never run a marathon, and I never see myself as the kind of person that can run a marathon. So 1 year, I say, you know what, this year I will run a marathon, and obviously, as always, people being people, you procrastinate. And then when the time is up, because the Standard and Chartered Bank Marathon is up, I say, I will run it, except on the night before, I have an appointment in Beijing. So I'm like, wow, but how can I run the marathon? But I say, since I promised myself that I'll do it anyway. So marathon start already at 5 o'clock, everybody start running. I start running at 9 o'clock because my plane land at 7 o'clock. So can you imagine, by the time you start running, people are already disassembling all the barricade. You run, usually, the cars is clear away, police is there, right? Stop, right? At that time, the car is all running. You have to run by the walkway. There are no people cheering you on. Everyone is gone already. And I heard some people already finished their marathon by the time I start. But nonetheless, a promise is a promise. A challenge is a challenge. So, you persevere, run. You GPS your way all the way because there's no more map already, right? You just go and run. And I remember there's an uncle by Ep.10, sweeping the floor, and I'm running. And I'm like, yeah, uncle, how are you? The uncle is like, I thought finished already this morning. and I'm running, right? But I think that's life. It's when you push yourself towards the limit that you find out what you're capable of. And when I finished the marathon, the way I look at myself will never be the same again. I'm become a person that can finish a marathon. So my challenge for all of you watching on TV as well as on the audience is, what are those challenges that you like to set for yourself? And how do you overcome those? So again, with that, should we get started? Let's give all of you a big hand. So today we have our local hero here who not only finished a marathon, but he is visually impaired. He can't see, and yet he finished his marathon. He's none other than our local hero, Norali. Let's give Norali a big hand. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
No, thank you. Let's have a seat. Thank you. All right. Okay. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
All right. So my question is, I'm sorry to keep you standing just now.
Oh, that's fine.
I didn't realize that. But my question for you is, what are you thinking about when you run the marathon?
Actually, crossing the finishing line. Yeah, definitely crossing the finishing line, because a marathon is quite a grueling race. I've done a 21-kilometer marathon, and it takes me about 2 hours to complete that. So it's a very, very grueling experience, but worthwhile nonetheless.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why do you want to run a marathon?
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Primarily, I do it because I want to raise. I'm raising funds for charity funds. Say one of the funds that I do that for is the Seeing is Believing Global Community Initiative, which is an initiative to eradicate or prevent avoidable blindness.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Got it. You are not born blind, right?
No.
Something happened to you along the way.
Yes.
You want to share with us a bit of that story?
Sure. I was actually born a regular sighted person.
Okay.
At the age of 17, I fell ill, and doctors diagnosed me with meningitis. Now, meningitis affected my optic nerve, and it was completely, I became completely blind after that. So, yeah.
So before 17, you were like most of us, you can see, and then you did not expect this to happen. It just happened, something happened to you overnight, is that?
Yes, it's overnight. So, when I woke up, everything just went dark. So it was a very terrifying experience, and it was I think it took me about 2 or 3 years to get over it. So I was physically and emotionally depressed.
How do you feel? That must be And for me, it's, to be fair, one of my deepest fear is not be able to see, because seeing there's so much stuff in it, right?
Yes.
And I could not even imagine, what you have to go through, when all of a sudden 17, which is at the peak of the youth, and then one day something happened to you. So what went through your mind during that period of time?
I was very, very scared of what my future held. As I said, I was physically and emotionally depressed, and things just fell apart just one night. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether there was going to be a future in my life, and all my dreams, my aspirations in life just fell apart. You see, I wanted to become a computer programmer when I.
We have computer program in the crowd. Who is computer programmers? But with that, it's gone, right? It's very
Exactly.
hard. Yeah, and yeah.
So just like that, I didn't. I see, at that time I was very ignorant. I didn't know what blind people could do. I thought they would just stay at home and do nothing. So when I lost my eyesight, I just my dreams to become a computer programmer, to be in the IT world was just gone.
So you thought it's over at that moment,
yeah,
right?
I thought it was just over. Everything just changed for me. You know.
But listening from you, you don't sound depressed, right? Something must have happened in that 2 years. What happened?
Okay, it took me about I think 2 or 3 years to get myself back on my feet.
Right.
During those times, I did have encouragement from my family, my friends, but that didn't really have much impact on my life. Of course, it helped me to stay happy, but it didn't give me the right push to move on with my life.
Right.
So one fateful day, I was watching TV, well, more like listening TV, and I think the Oprah Winfrey Show was there, and I don't know, it was as if someone just planned it. There was a blind man over there being interviewed, and he had actually done something that everybody would have thought impossible. He actually climbed Mount Everest, and he actually reached
blind
the
man climb Mount Everest.
Exactly. So he actually climbed the apex of Mount Everest, not 1/3 of the mountain, not 2/3 of the mountain, but the whole mountain. And he was the first man to ever done that. And I thought that was just amazing. I thought that was amazing. I mean, if a blind man can do that, you just think of what he could do.
At that time you are like 19, 20, and you watch and listen to that.
Yeah.
So what went through your mind at that time?
To be honest with you, I felt a bit embarrassed myself. Because you see, he was this guy. This guy actually lost his eyesight during his teens, just like me. But unlike me, he actually chose to move on, and he moved on. He made a giant leap to just conquer his disability and his limitations, and and climb the biggest obstacle known to mankind.
Yeah.
So that's just amazing. So I said, okay, I got to do something with my life. So So I think that was the pinnacle point of my life, which actually made me push myself to just move on with my life and seek out for something better.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit, how do you get to run the marathon? Is it at that time you decide to run the marathon, or there's something that come after?
Oh, that was a few years after, actually. A few years after. But about the marathon, actually I started in 2005. So that was a few years after that.
Yeah.
I actually was in university at that time. So during my semester breaks, I didn't have much to do. So at that time, someone from one of the local banks here was doing a charity initiative on helping visually impaired community. So they wanted to look at what the local blind community needed. What sort of what sort of life they were living, and they decided to contact me through a few people. And from there, they said they wanted to do a whole run to raise funds, and I said I'd be willing to run, but I wouldn't know how to do that because I never run blind before. So they introduced me to a lot of new stories about there's this guy who's completely blind, but he is the fastest blind runner in the world, completing 5 kilometers in just 15 minutes. Completing half a marathon in about 17 minutes, which I thought was amazing. So I decided to learn from that, and I decided to okay, if this guy can do this, I think I should be able to at least do half what he's doing. So that's how I started going to marathons, and I did it not just to prove to myself that I could do it, but also to raise funds to help the local blind community.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So educate me a little bit, right? And
Okay.
educate the rest of us, right? How do you run blind or
Alright.
visually impaired? Yeah.
Okay, I list the support of a sighted guide.
Okay,
who
so
can,
someone,
who can run as fast as me or has a better stamina than me. So what I do is we tie our wrists together with
Okay.
a flexible rope. So it's a tethering thing, and we run in unison together. So we run together, and he or she will actually provide me with verbal cues. If there's someone in front, if there's a bump in front, or
Wow.
if there's a left turn,
Wow.
So yeah,
So the synchronization between you and your friend,
yes,
the partners must be very precise.
it has to be precise. Yeah.
And you have to last a whole marathon when both of you are tired.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the process. The training process has to begin quite a few months early because we need to get used to our running style.
Right.
We're not bumping into each other. So yeah. So it's it's a good partnership because we need each other to motivate each other during the run because as I said,
Yeah.
it's a grueling run.
Yeah, grueling, right?
Yeah.
Tiring, and yet you have to queue.
Exactly.
Ah.
It's not like we stop halfway and then continue back. It's just running all the way.
Yeah, you can't stop, right?
You can't
Because
stop.
everybody's running together, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Ah, got you. And show me, and I think that built a lot of good foundation for friendship,
Oh yes.
for a lot of connections.
Exactly. Yeah.
When you went through that with people, that's you don't forget those times.
Yeah.
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 And you showed me some of your picture earlier, whereby you went and study
Yeah.
your bachelor here at UBD,
Yeah.
and then you studied your master in London
Yeah.
at King College. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I saw some of your picture where you horseback ride,
Oh yeah.
skydive indoor. That's amazing. What went through your mind when you say, let's do those things?
Because I wanted to. I think what I wanted to do was to experience, the world out there. Because I've never done this before. So while I'm here, let's just do it. But in a way, I was also indirectly trying to tell the world that my limitations, my disability, isn't going to prevent me from doing this. So I wanted to break the glass ceiling here about the local perception of people with disability. I wanted to show them we can do the same thing as as regular sighted people. So yeah, it's trying to make a point that just because we're have a disability,
Right.
it's not going to limit us to do what we want in life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think on that point, right? I think not only from what you describe, while I talk to people, not only you inspire people that are visually impaired, but I think you inspire the rest of the people that are not visually impaired as well. Because it look like if Norali can do this, what else shouldn't we challenge ourselves to? I think that's amazing. You have any message from the audience or people?
Well, I think for everyone else, especially youths, not just youths, but youths with disability or children with disability, anyone else, I think what I'd like to put out there is that we need to endeavor to find that sense of purpose in our life. Most of us are clueless about why we were put on earth for, why we do what we do. But I think trying to find a sense of purpose, what we're supposed to do, really helps in achieving our aspirations in life. Don't be put down by your challenges in life, your limitations, or even the negative aspects of life, because those things will actually give you a glimpse of what you want to be or who you want to be in the future. So just listen to them, connect the dot, and you'll see the challenges that we go through in our daily life will shape you into the person you become. Making mistakes is a part of life, and most people look at the negative side instead of the brighter side of that. So mistakes are actually good opportunities for personal development and growth. It makes us more conscientious, more knowledgeable with what you want to do in life, and it gives you that it makes you mentally tough, emotionally stable, and I think it gives you a better what do you call that? It gives you something to
The determination, the
determination.
strength.
That's right. Yeah, determination to go forward in life. So yeah.
I think that's a great message. But sometimes we're too afraid to fail.
Yes.
We are bound by our limitations. Sometimes it's not anyone set the limitation for, but it's ourselves.
Yes.
If we don't think that we can, and then what if we fail? So we never try.
That's a good point, yeah, because most of us are sometimes, well, not most of us, but sometimes most of us, well, I'm saying most of us again, I'm sorry.
Sure, that's fine,
Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah, some of us are just too comfortable in our comfort
Fair.
zone. We just need to get out of it and, experience what it is. And sometimes we find that sense of purpose there.
Yeah, and I think what this, to be fair, that's what this show is really about. Too many of us find our comfort zone. We say, the Bruneian, cannot, but the truth is, we can.
Yes.
I think we can.
We can, of course.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
The story like you is just amazing. We can do a lot more than we know of what we are capable of.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And what will be your next challenge, if you don't mind sharing a bit?
All right. Right now, the next challenge and the present challenge that I'm also experiencing, and maybe the next is trying to sort of instill a sense of inclusive thinking. Right now, what I want to do is try to change the public's perception of what people with disability mean to society. Right now, people with disability are viewed in a way that they're viewed as human form of deficits instead of human form of diversity. You see, they're seen as second members class of society, sort of beneath the norm, which when in fact they're actually on the same level playing field, like just like any regular person.
Right.
So that sort of that's going to be a challenge to change the public's perception, because it's not just unique in Brunei. Everywhere it's just like
Is
that.
it all around the world, right?
All around the world, yeah. So, for example, the way you speak about people with disability, most people use the word disabled people instead of persons with disability. You see, you need to
Fair.
adopt the first person language, meaning that you look at the person first, disability second, not disability first, person second. When someone with a wheelchair approaches you, you don't look at the wheelchair first, you look at the person first. So once you have that way of thinking, everything will fall in place. Buildings will start to be designed to support diversity, people with disability.
Right.
The environment will be made more accessible in mind. So that's going to promote a level playing field for everybody else.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that when you're in UK,
Yeah.
You can roam around the cities, take the subway.
Yeah.
But whereas in Brunei, or actually a lot of places in Southeast Asia, you can't
We
do
can't
that.
do that, yeah, because the environment wasn't designed with accessibility in mind.
Right.
In the UK, in London, to be honest, it's a very busy city. So the things I was able to get out of my flat, go to a tube station, go to my university
By yourself?
by myself.
Wow.
I even flew off to Geneva,
Wow.
Switzerland, by myself. So everything I could do by myself, because the environment was just made that way. So it was easy for me to move around.
Got that,
Yeah.
right? And the message that you brought earlier is so, so often we never see the person that's within. And I think the message that you brought is the truth is all of us are equal.
Yes.
Do we take the time to understand the heart of another person that's within, and that is equal. And why should we be limited by some of the physical limitation that we see outside? So see the person first, then the rest come later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also want to bring one point too. When we're talking about disability, try to not be too sympathetic towards them. Be empathetic, but not sympathetic, because excessive sympathy just sort of affects their dignity, and it closes doors of opportunity. Sort of more sympathy will cause lesser opportunities for people with disability. When I was in UK, the sympathy was lesser, because they know that people with disability can contribute. So opportunities become higher. Yeah. So in here, I think I get the opposite.
It's called a sympathy, but not the empathy.
Yes, and it's understandable, because Bruneians are quite sympathetic towards each other. But when you
Which
do
is great.
that,
Yeah.
but when you do that, doors of opportunities goes down. Say for example, when I wanted to first run a marathon, my mom said, "No, you're not going to do that." But I had to. I actually had to do it. I pushed myself. So when my mom saw that I could do it, she became less sympathetic of my abilities, and now I have to do everything by myself.
No, it's like, oh, you can do it. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But that instilled the individualism on all of us, that we can do that, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
You mentioned you want one of the challenge that you want thinking about is running a triathlon.
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
Okay. So I've done a marathon before.
Right.
So now I'm taking up cycling. So I'm cycling now, so I know that I can do that. But
Right.
now I'm actually doing swimming now. So those three sports will comprise of a triathlon. So I'm
Right.
thinking of doing my first triathlon next year.
Wow.
Okay,
Is
so-
there triathlon in Brunei?
There are, but not the full kind of a triathlon.
Okay.
Yeah, not like the Ironman triathlon.
Okay, got it.
More like a very sort of a mini one, which
Sure.
I think I could do. Yeah.
It's a starter, right?
It's a start, yeah, exactly.
I haven't even started my triathlon. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one of the challenge that you are thinking about.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So yeah,
That sounds exciting.
I hope so. Yeah.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the thing that you're doing right now, as your in terms of what you do for work, is you are an education officer in the special education unit.
Yes.
If MOE, Ministry of Education in Brunei.
That's right.
Want to tell us a bit more about what you do and why you do that?
Okay. What I do at the special education unit is that I'm doing research on inclusive education and also trying to help students or learners with disability or special needs through the use of technology.
Right.
So technology is a very, very powerful tool. It levels the playing field for people with disability, enables them to become active contributing members of society. It makes them more independent. So I use technology to help them in school so that they too can participate equally in the classroom. So say for example, students with visual impairment,
Right.
they have a problem with reading print. Now they can't see
Right.
print,
Right.
books or textbooks. So what we do is we provide the proper assistive technology
Right.
to help them access the printed text.
Okay.
So now what they can do is just maybe use an iPhone or maybe a scanning device. Just take a picture of it. The phone or the scanning device will actually read it
Right.
and make it accessible for them.
So it's level playing field.
I'm sorry?
Level playing field. So
Exactly,
everybody's
level playing field, yeah.
Right.
So they too now can access it.
Okay, I believe you have bring your phone here today and your iPad here today. Want to show us a little bit how you access those yourself?
Okay, great. Where is the iPad?
iPad, okay.
there we
Here's the iPad.
Okay,
Right,
thank
perfect.
you.
Yeah.
So this is my iPad. Now the iPad is not a special device. It's the same iPad that it's the same iPad that you would get off the shelf.
Right.
All right. But the good thing about the iPad is that it's got accessibility features which allows a person with disability, not just blind, but any person with disability to access it. And
Right.
in this case, they provide voice-over feature which will actually voice out whatever I touch on the screen.
Wow.
So
So,
when-
so if you show, this is
Yeah.
a normal iPad, just
This
like
is
any
normal
other iPad. Perfect.
yeah.
Yes.
It's a normal iPad.
Yep.
So when I touch anything on the screen,
Yeah.
App
So
Store.
if you can do
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Tap
Yeah.
to open. Photos.
photos,
Double music.
music,
Mail. One
Mail.
unread message.
I've got 100 message there.
Double doc. Read to go. iBooks.
I've got iBooks
Double
there,
tap to
which
open.
I use to read books.
Yeah.
Read tweet list.
I got tweet list for my
Double
Twitter.
tap to Instagram.
I've got Instagram app there
Double
for
tap
my
to open.
Instagram.
Facebook. One new item.
Facebook. Yeah.
I got Facebook there. It
Double
tells
tap
me
to
I've got a new item there. So yeah, so it tells me
know.
everything there, So yeah.
Oh, thank you, Pangeran. Yeah.
And if I'm surfing the internet, look for information on the on
Sure.
go, I can do that. I can send messages. I can do whatever regular sighted people can do using the iPad. Yeah.
You want to show us something on here or email or something? Up
Sure.
to you. Yeah.
Let me just open up a book.
Sure.
Yeah.
That'd be
Read
great.
to
Yeah.
go.
Read to go. Let me just see. Okay, here we go. It's an app called Read to Go.
Read to
Book
go.
sadly,
Yep, I've
but
loaded
we
a
are
book.
often slow
Yeah.
to
Oh,
recognize
sorry,
the need
perfect.
to make a move. Navigation.
I'm gonna
set previous page. Previous phrase. Play pause. Button. Play pause. Sadly, we are often slow to recognize the need to make a move. We settle into a routine, even if it isn't all that comfortable, and we choose an action over action simply out of laziness or play pause.
So that's how I read the book. It will actually read it to me out loud with a very, very stimulating voice.
Wow.
Yes.
Just overcome challenges. Doesn't matter what it throw at you. Overcome those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Screen lock.
it really does level the playing field with this tool. So with any technology now, with assistive technology, we're able to do anything that regular sighted people can do.
Right.
So yeah.
That is amazing. Your phone, if you don't mind me.
I'm sorry.
You have a phone. How do you read your messages?
Oh, my phone. Oh, well, it's switched off right now, but
okay. But it's the same in a very similar way.
it's the same, yeah. Because I've got whatever I receive on my phone, I will receive it here on
Yeah.
my iPad. So maybe I show the email there.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let me show you.
Set bookmark.
Oh, so that's the book.
Home.
I'm gonna
Good
open
player.
Good player.
Swat. FaceTime. Safari. Mail. Music.
There we go, mail.
One unread message.
One unread message. Let's see what's that.
Let's see. Live on TV. Okay.
Table start. More. All inboxes. Alert. Select a wipe. Cancel.
It's
Button.
it's asking me to select a
Order
Wi-Fi
free.
there.
Address. All inboxes. Search. IT and Lena. Book it and hit up. Minutes of UPK.
Oh, that's my boss.
There we go. Okay. So you got it. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so accessible, or rather, just you are connected to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm connected to the world just like anyone else, So I can even
Yep. Sorry. Yep.
oh sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Screen lock.
So yeah, But this is just a glimpse of technology that I use.
Sure.
There's other technology that I also use, like computers. The computers are more advanced, but the same computer that you would use. Yeah?
Awesome. Just to close today, any last message for audience here, physically here, or those on TV? Anything you'd like to say to them?
Let me see. The message that I just sent out just was the exact message that I like to close it. Like I said before, use the when you're looking at people with disability, when people look at someone different, please try to focus on their being a person first, and being different or being having a disability second. Those are not important bit. And try to be more inclusive in your way of thinking. Less sympathy and more opportunities for people who are different.
On that, let's give our hand to our hero here, Norali.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think if anything today, it teach me that whatever barrier that we have in front of us right now, it's not really a barrier until we make it so. So my question for all of us, including those on the TV, is, what are those challenges that you like to put on yourself, such that you can accomplish a lot more than you thought you can? So throw that challenge to yourself and update us on Living with Passion on our Facebook page. And thank you again, Norali, for being here with us today.
Thank you for
having me. Let's give a big hand. And remember this, whatever you do, live with passion. So thank you for all of you for being here today. Thank you, Norali.
Thank you.
Thank you.